everyone. Welcome to Swimming with Whales special edition with Dar Radfar. Very excited to have Dar as our guests and potential future co-host with me, as we're going to be completing the mission of family, of financial freedom, wellness, and mental stability. That's really the key. Dar, welcome.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for having me on. You nailed it, right? I'm a professional, right? I'm a dentist of 23 years. I do a lot of sleep apnea and snoring treatment. That's been kind of my niche. And as professionals, whether you're a dentist, a physician, a lawyer, or any sort of businessman, you always look forward to seeing if you could do some passive income in areas of investments, whether it's in securities or stocks and gold and crypto, but also in real estate. And Ben, I wasn't taught anything about real estate back in dental school, let alone the
Right.
business of dentistry, right? And I think a lot of the listeners who are not in real estate understand that. So if you are a listener that you are in real estate, we have to kind of dumb down the conversation a little bit to some of those investors so that we can understand things a little bit better. And so I hope to provide that voice of an investor. And I know you and I have dove into personal development and mindset, and talking about things from Tony Robbins and Dr. Joe Dispenza and meditations, and how to be able to really live a more peaceful life, but also how to be able to use certain techniques in personal development to achieve the things that you want to do, whether it's a personal or business relationship. So I'm really excited to dive in today and see what you got to
It's
offer.
always awesome. It's always good to give back. And at the end of the day, when you have a good formula for success, it's all about transparency and sharing. And that's where Dar and I see eye to eye. We've known each other for more than a decade now, and we've been lucky enough to live in the same community as neighbors for multiple decades. And we really appreciate the freedom of time. Dar's a very busy guy. I think you have, I don't know, I was Googling you and I saw 3 practices, or how many?
Yeah, I have a couple dental practices. I have my own brand and holistic, kind of all natural products for oral health, sleep health, TMJ health. And I do have like a coaching program for other dental professionals or doctors to help them kind of scale and grow their practices and actually do that while being less in the practice. So that's
That's
my kind
huge.
of claim to
That,
fame.
that's huge, to help a professional think outside the box and really put their investor hat on and say, how can I monetize what I have, my license, my skills, my experience better? Over the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, how can I actually do better for myself, for my family, for my wealth growth, as opposed to only providing a service, which automatically, as a physician, you've chosen a difficult space to be in. You're a service provider when most people probably, don't like going to the dentist. So definitely kudos. I have a lot of friends that are dentists, and I can tell you that I have a lot of respect for the industry. And when you are able to really put your investor hat on and say, I'm going to really, really optimize my time, that's when I'm starting to get interested for our listeners, for our accredited investors that would like to do better and more with what they have. So the question is, as far as running different practices, and I know that you go around the country helping other DDS professionals with the special night guard that helps snoring. um, my wife, I started wearing putting on a night guard, I think like maybe 5 years ago. And I still snore because I don't have that special night guard. So tell us about your investor, mind shift. That's really what it was when you decided that with your license, with your skills, you're going to do a little bit more. And what's your goal for the next 15, 20 years?
So, as a professional that does a certain trait that you're stuck within a certain, I call it beautiful prison that you've created, whether you're making 500,000 a year or 5 million a year doing the dentistry or the physician kind of work or law work or any kind of work that you do, at the end of the month, usually there's something left over. If we're doing things right, you have some, after all your expenses are paid for your family, for your home and whatnot, hopefully you have 5, 10, 15, 20, $50,000 left over. And then the question becomes like, where do we put it? Right. And in California, there was this, I call it the weed rush, where a lot of investors were putting their money in something that they had absolutely no idea where it would go. And
Right.
a lot of people took a huge loss, including myself. And then there's the real estate world, and investing into your own business has always been, let's say, the best idea. But there's only so much that you can double down on your own business. There's only so much you can scale, and ultimately, you're working still in your business as opposed to on your business if you're growing your internal if infrastructure of offices or practices. So, the scary part for any investor is, the details in it. How much am I going to get in return? What happens if it goes bust? What happens if the fund manager, something, God forbid, happens to him or her? What's the time frame here? Why you instead of someone else? Do you have answers to that usually then may say, okay, then what is the minimum investment, right? Is it 100K? Is it 200K? And
So just because you have a lot of info, all legitimate concerns. For those of you that are listening, you're not alone when you're like, how am I going to run it? How am I going to get potentially the financing for it? How am I going to be really optimum with what I'm doing with it? And is it really going to help my ROH, return on happiness, as opposed to just another job? Nobody wants another job. So what Dar, myself, others that are successful in their space are able to do is really make what their need as they see being fulfilled, as an investor, complemented with the demand of the market. The market has to show you that it wants you. Your skills, whether you're a plumber, HVAC, DDS, or a fund manager like me, needs to be proven by your audience. So the question is, going back to your mind shift and really investing in yourself, which is the best investment you can make. And we're always talking in Money Management that today about investing in yourself. And the blogs that we have on are all about literacy for you to be able to do better with what you have today. Don't wait until tomorrow, today. So go ahead, continue, Dar.
yeah, so the personal investment that you first got to put in yourself is internally. What are
Yeah.
what are your troubles, right? What are your triggers? Do you have anger management issues? I mean, I know people chuckle at that, but a lot of my friends do, and that makes you make decisions that are not very, let's call it, clear-minded or clear-headed, right? You have these issues. Are you dealing with a partner in your life, in your home that you're constantly in battle with or unhappy with, right? So what is it that you need to work on personally? And I know, Ben, you and I have talked about some big names out there, including Kabbalah, that has nothing really a religious aspect. It's just the mindset, including Tony Robbins. And I mentioned Dr. Joe Dispenza, Peter Crone, Danny Morell, all these people that I worked on myself, meaning I listen to their podcasts, I go to their retreats, to their conferences, and then I make at least one change in my habit that follows what they recommend so that I can lead to a place of less reactive anger, jealousy, greed, guilt, shame, the classic things that we kind of grow up with and program with in our minds with our
100%.
families,
100%.
and
Yeah.
we got to break the programming. You're not
100%.
born jealous, you're not born greedy, you're not born envious. These are things that are programmed into our head, especially in certain cultures like my culture and the Persian culture.
Yeah.
We definitely have that. And then you grow up and you're trying to fight it, right? And you need the proper techniques and skills to fight it by understanding and having compassion for our parents and our grandparents who live that way because of their struggles. My parents, we escaped our country. I was 6 years old when we escaped from Iran into Turkey on horseback. I mean,
Mhm.
for my dad to leave his business, very wealthy in Iran, to escape religious persecution, and you have your story as well, Ben, that I know that
Yeah.
you've gone through. That is the persevering through those kinds of things, man. There is no that itself is a trauma. No matter what you want to way you put it, it is a life experience that is traumatic. Now, Ben, are we going to play victim to the trauma and be like, oh no, this is what I had to deal with? And the classic story, I went to school in the snow
No,
with
yeah.
no shoes.
Yeah.
And so those are the kinds of things that I first worked on is understanding my triggers, understanding what allows me to make proper executive decisions by removing the low energy vibrations of those energies of fear and anger and trauma and jealousy, and having the courage to be able to have a little bit more compassion, understanding, kindness, and then all of a sudden the universe throws investments and deals and friendships at you.
Have you read the book The Universe Has Your Back?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so
Listen to
it's
it.
it's yeah, it's just so incredible at what Dar is saying. It resonates so much. Um, just because when you're really out there putting into the universe what it is that you're looking to do, it's going to come at you and you're going to figure out ways of making it happen. So it's really having your own vision of your perfect life and really working towards it on a daily basis because it never finishes. We never fully retire. We were just, proven that with Warren Buffett finally saying quit at 94. And guess what? He's not just quit. He's obviously still an investor. He's still there looking at what's happening. So at the end of the day, one thing that we realize is we have to really deal with ourselves first and foremost. That's what Dar is really telling us here. Whatever traumas we've gone through, we got to put them aside. We can't be a victim because a victim mentality will just not help us be winners. And remember, swimming with whales means that you're supposed to follow the current where success is. Because when Warren Buffett buys into a company, a lot of people follow, a lot of investors follow. And normally, when he invests into that company, he stays there for some time. So it's not about the short term, it's about the long term, but it is about doing your short term, your daily activities every single day, every single hour, time blocking, and really finding good mentors and coaches that shouldn't be too expensive if free. To be honest with you, I'm a big believer in transparency and just the freedom of information. Freedom of information should be out there, and the ones that are seeking it, us, everybody that's listening, everybody that's watching this, we all want to achieve financial freedom of time. It's very, very important that when we have the time and when we're laying on the beach, when we go to vacation, when we're going skiing, when we're rollerblading, we're actually mentally there, as opposed to doing these activities that we're paying a shitload of money for, but then we're not mentally there. So it all boils down, and I'm really happy that you put a lot of emphasis in it because I take it kind of for granted that I have to work on myself continuously. As I wake up, I say thank you for waking up within the first probably 15 seconds that I'm awake. Now, does it happen every single morning? No, but 80% of the time, I'm consciously telling myself to do it. And once I remember it just a little bit later, I'll do it an hour later, 2 hours later. But the gratitude, the thankfulness of just us being able to be, at a great place and alive and here for a reason, that's good enough.
Yeah, Ben, you mentioned two very important points here. You brought up Warren Buffett. And I want to dive into that for a minute because swimming with whales is definitely a Warren Buffett mentality, and we'll talk about that in
100%.
a second. But
Yeah.
before we jump into that, this what I'm showing on Zoom here for anyone that could see it, or if you're just listening to it, is a journal. And
Yeah.
I sit here and you can't just think things. I write down what I am in 5 years. I am an investor. I am a dentist that owns multiple practices. I am not practicing anymore. I am working from Mexico. I'm working from Miami, my second home. I'm already there. The envisioning of your journaling and your thoughts, you already have to be there. It's called fake it till you make it. That is a thing. The universe will follow the emotions that are attached to your thoughts about who you already are or becoming, not who you hope to be. Okay. The hope is not going to land you anywhere. So that's an action plan for the listeners right there. Don't just like wake up and say, okay, what do I do now? Oh, it's so stupid to journal. If you're not going to do that, just forget about it. I mean, you're not going to make any changes or have the universe give you little, what we call synchronicities, little breadcrumbs of, hey, you're on the right path. When you start seeing those numbers like 444, 333, these are all indications. I think about Ben. I haven't talked to you in 3 weeks. All of a sudden, you literally message me, or I see you in the community, and I literally thought about you 10 seconds ago. That's intense with the universe because you're purposely thinking about something. Now let's go back to Warren Buffett in 94. I think you and I, God willing, if we make it to 94, we're not stopping
Right.
in any work that we do. But really, if I was friends with Warren Buffett, what do you think my value, my net liquid and investment value would be? And I'm a dentist. It would be very high if I was
For
friends
sure.
with him, right?
For sure.
So the cliche statement of you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. An investment group is a group of one of those 5 people that you quote unquote hang out with, right?
100%.
So if we have an investment group swimming with whales, and we have this current that we're going on, and you're amongst other people who are doctors, investors, and lawyers, and contractors, and they know shit from Texas, not
Yeah.
necessarily from LA, where the cap rate's 3% on a beautiful sunny day, and stuff that you didn't know. Now you just, as an investor, being someone like me, leveled up, brought yourself to that Warren Buffett style of conversation at an elite level with stuff and terminology and deals that you couldn't even learn on your own in your 40s, 50s, and 60s because that's what you grew
100%.
up with. You know what I'm saying? And the do-it-yourself mentality puts you in this toilet bowl of, excuse my language, shit that you
Right.
just don't move forward. So there's two steps
100%.
here, right? Ben, we gotta work on your own ability to be clear-headed, be a better person, deal with your own issues that you're dealing with at home or within your own internal self. And then you have this joining of groups of people such as our group to be able to level up financially and be around people who are a little bit
Right.
smarter than you.
100%. 100%. All valuable information that, Dar is talking from experience. This is something that, he himself had to do in order to have it. And we keep saying it, we keep talking about it. Yes, we want good people around us, but we're also doing it for ourselves because we're reminding ourselves daily what it is that we're looking to do. When you were talking about see yourself and, really understand, the book that I wrote with my daughter a few years ago, A Manual for the Ultimate Real Estate Investor, has a quote from one of my mentor and real estate coaches, Dana Potter, from Pinnacle Properties that I worked with for multiple decades. And he always would say, I see you for the professional that you can be. And that's the importance. The importance is when you look at yourself in the mirror, you should see what others are seeing in addition to you yourself understanding who you want to be. Because if you don't have a clear vision of who you want to be, how are you going to get there? You got to reverse engineer it. And like you said at the beginning, which I believe was the mind shift that we all have to have in order to decide to really be aggressive about what it is that we want, is having that mind shift of clarity, transparency, and achieving our goals.
You know what, Ben? You said, where do you want to be? Everyone's going to be like, I want more money. I want more passive income. Okay. You and I both know humans that are worth 10, 50, 100 million, and they're like the most miserable, worst
Right.
relationship, can't get out of a marriage, have contemplated suicide. And then you've got some that are, worth a million and they're like happy go lucky. Sure, they want more. So where's that shift, right? Where does that shift
It's yeah, it's understanding you yourself, what makes you happy. What is your happy place? What do you need in order to have a happy life? How do you see yourself serving the community, serving your family, serving yourself? Just a clear vision of you being here right now, breathing, drinking, eating, walking, learning, teaching for a reason. There's a reason why every single thing is being done. And you are your own, I don't want to say robot, but you are. You could be your own robot if you're strong enough with guidelines, if you're strong enough with a group of peers, a group of friends that also have a very strong set of guidelines. Then everyone is holding everybody accountable and everyone is doing better. And there's something in Hebrew that's called tikkun olam, which is repair of the universe. At the end of the day, I always ask everyone, why? You want to invest with our fund? Why? What would you like the capital to do? You want to invest in a certain position? Why? Besides the numbers that hopefully you've looked at, hopefully you've done your due diligence, again, long-term, short-term goal. At the end of the day, it's really you understanding what makes you happy and you setting the guidelines of having that happiness.
Yeah, and Ben, you said where's your vision? Where do you want to go? I think the importance is not just I want to have passive income so I am not stuck in my office.
Right,
'Cause I hate my Mondays, let alone my
right.
Tuesdays. That
Yeah,
is a very, very common thought process. Okay, so we want that. Now, are you sitting there and actually visualizing how it will look like in 5, 10, 15 years? And then when you visualize that passive income, let's say it's 10,000 a month that you're getting in passive income based on the investments that you do, or 20 or 30. What are you doing now with your time? Are you spending time more with your family? Are you able to
right.
go to the gym more often? Right? When I saw you, Ben, I hadn't seen you for a few months. We always say hi together, whatnot, but I
Yeah,
never really ran into you. And I looked at you, I'm like, damn, you look great. Both you and
yeah.
your wife
Thank you.
like looked
Thank
phenomenal. I was like so impressed because you want to work with people who have the
Right.
same mindset, right, about their health as well. So part of
Uh,
the group that what I like about your group or our group now
Yes.
is the ability to understand and relate on health, on family, on mental wellness to get you. It's like, hey man, look, I'm sick and tired of being a dentist, Ben. So I want to be able to supplement get 20,000 of passive income so I can pay for my home, can pay for my cars, can pay for my property tax. So at
Yeah.
least the rest of it is like travel, food, and
100%.
right?
100%.
You understand that. You get that. You're not
I
just
I
yeah,
going back to what you're saying, that I get it. In 2012 and 11, when I semi-retired, because I've been in real estate for 30 years, and at that time, I had organically the opportunity to work from home because of REOs and because I became mostly an investor in managing our family's capital. So I started rollerblading a lot more often. I started going to the beach and bike riding a lot more often. And for the first 4 years, I was doing it almost alone because most of my friends were working. They didn't have time to take even one Wednesday
yep,
off,
yep,
even once a month to schedule it, to
right.
have that 3 hour block. It was so difficult, but some of them made it. And what exactly to your point, I wanted to prove to myself at that age, at the age of 38, at that time, that when I'm retired, I'm going to have something to do.
Right.
That I'm actually going to know what I'm going to be doing. I'm not just going to be wandering, because what's the point of getting there if you don't know what to do once you get there? So it's exactly to your point. You want to you want to start living the way you're hoping to live in the next 20, 30 years. You want to start living that way today. Now, it doesn't mean every day, but take some, blocks of time, whether it's on the weekend or during the week, and utilize that and reconfirm your understanding of your happy place. Because if you're not reconfirming your understanding of happy place and you think you have a happy place and then you did everything and you get to that happy place, my wife, who sells luxury residential real estate, has clients that have moved, from the suburbs of Calabasas to the beach area, and 4 years later want to come back to the suburbs of Calabasas because the friends are not by the beach. And they don't, I guess, rollerblade or bike ride as much as maybe I would. So again, you don't want to do that. You want to kind of understand where you're going, and you want to minimize the transactions. Having said that, I'm really excited to show you right now, Dar, how I find deals. All right. So I'm gonna share. All right, cool. So I'm gonna share my screen now. All right. So I like to do everything with time, because again, time, as we keep talking about, that's all we have. So this, I get, I would say, around 150 to 200 emails daily with properties. And a lot of times friends of mine, they just, as they go through emails, it takes them forever. So I just want the investors out there. Okay. I just want the investors out there. And again, we're really promoting transparency. Dar and I, we're promoting everybody that's on the group, swimming with whales. It's all about sharing how we got there and really having the understanding of where we're trying to get to. So on a personal level, with our fund, we're looking for properties right now in the Sunbelt states. We're looking for retail, commercial, industrial. We're not really looking for office. We've never really bought office. We're not looking for hospitality. And we're not really looking for single tenant type of opportunities, and unless we really, really like the operator, because we want to diversify our capital. So we prefer to have 6, 7 tenants in a plaza as opposed to one. But if the tenant is a good tenant, then a credit-worthy tenant, corporate, then that's what we look at. So, and when we're not interested too much in development. So here's a redevelopment deal, not interested. 12-unit multifamily, not interested. Walmart neighborhood market pad sites. This is this is in Florida. Again, we're not looking to develop. Crexy is a very well-known newsletter. It's circulating advertisement. I'm sure a lot of the people that are in the industry are seeing it. Pep Boys Dark. So this means that it's already empty. There's 6 years remaining. It's auto. I'm not interested in auto. I feel like auto, we don't know what's going to happen with them over the next 20, 30 years. Dutch Brothers is like a coffee place. They've been really coming up, but you see this 5.6 cap. I can't make money with that. So for me, by the way, I'm going to give you a little bit of that, mad money energy, because I'm looking for a deal, right? So here's what I'm looking for. I need more than 7.5 cap, because right now my debt, giving today's rates, are roughly at around 6. So at 7.5 cap, I start negotiating the deal. I get to about 8, and now I can go into escrow, because now I have my 10% ROI. Those of you that this was too fast for, because I know Dar, we spoke about layman's terms, reach out to us. We're available. Go to moneymanagement.today. Google Dar. You'll find him. He's there. Google myself. You'll find me. Let's go back to the deals. All right, let's continue. I want to find something. New listing, VP Racing, convenience store, not interesting. Smart and Final, new retail development, retail, former 99-cent store for lease. motivated seller. We like motivated sellers, but again, we have to see a little bit more medical professional office. So this is a company that Encore, they actually got us the building in West Michigan. They work primarily the northern part of the country. And just because it's medical, I looked at it, Ohio. Um, you could see it's got a decent curb appeal. And you have to look at the offering memorandum in order to see what they're actually giving you on this investment. So I'm just going to star it and look at it later because they didn't actually tell us what it is that they're making. So let's continue. 8.75 cap rate, Walgreens Pharmacy, Farm North Carolina, good return, 12.8 remaining cap rate, which is a calculation with no debt, just so you guys know. Capitalization rate, that's what it means, 100% occupancy. Triple net lease means Walgreens is responsible for everything. Lease ends 2038. This is not bad. It's not next to Food Lion, out parcel. We have to check out the actual location. I'm going to star it, check it out a little bit later on. Let's see what else we have. 36 units, North Hollywood. It's multifamily. I'm not excited about that. 36 units, Veliani Group, Medical Center. We've been doing this now, 5 minutes? Encore, Auto Parts, Crexy. All right, let's continue. So these are some that I've looked at before that I didn't like. As you could see, I'm just going through them. You've got, for example, restaurant opportunity in West Hollywood, right? Where you could do a redevelopment. So 2 spaces available. Someone that's an operator, for example, like maybe a golf simulator like we have, or maybe a dentist, that might want to go into this area because there's a Wingstop coming in, there's a Pilates, and the spot that they have available, if I zoom in on it, I'll be able to see the size, but we can follow up on it. So that's a pretty good opportunity for an operator, Dar. If you have any dentists that are thinking to start in a certain area and maybe they want to buy the building too, because that's what, this type of an opportunity can be. So again, you never know, and reach out to us. And again, it's all about making yourself think, what can I do with my capital, with my skills? Let's see.
Ben, the key here as an observer, right?
Yes.
Is you've got 100 since the morning. You've got at least 100 emails to sift through, right? This is what you do for a living. What I do for a living is I had 3 meetings already this morning with dentists, and I have patients in about 3 hours from 1 to 5 today, seeing patients, right? So this is what I have my trust in you is, through proper documentation and all that, is for your decades of experience to sift through this and then come up with the Fab 5, let's say, right?
Yeah.
That you think that are really, really beneficial to an operator, to a investor. And then it's this is what you do, and this is the part that I call it filtering system that you do, that you have this connection with other developers and agents that you've already even worked with. You mentioned one of them you already did something in Michigan with, so you know their track record.
Yeah, no, it's all about transparency and, understanding what's happening in the space. So if you're trying to understand what's going on in real estate, where are the whales investing and why are they investing in self-storage? Why are they investing in certain locations? The understanding behind it is the reverse engineering. And just like you're saying, Dar, you need someone that you can actually feel that's transparent enough that will be able to give you that information. You could potentially either invest with them or invest in the fund or the vehicle that they have. So you could be either a limited partner or you could be a general partner if you're located, let's say, in Houston or in San Antonio or in Miami, and you have a nice plaza that I like, and you say, you know, it's $15 million or $20 million, I don't feel like, you know, qualifying for a loan for 60% for that type of an acquisition. I don't feel like running it and dealing with a management company, but I really would love to own a portion of it. And I would really like the returns, because the returns are 10% plus from day one, because that's the formula. And, you know, because the rental increases are already built in 3, 4 years after, you're in the 20s. You're in the 20s and you're investing in real estate. So I can tell you that just last week, I took out $400,000 from the retirement accounts, moving them to self-directed IRA that I'm planning to invest in real estate. Now, I can't invest it into my own fund because I'm the general partner of the fund, but I can invest it in other syndications and partnerships that I have where I trust, just like you said, the general partner. And now my money is doing much better. And the trajectory, by the way, you know, for the stock market over the next 10 years is a growth that's very, very conservative, 3 to 4%. That's been, you know, provided by the biggest brokerage houses. So again, it takes a little bit more work to invest in something other than, you know, the open public companies. But I personally believe that private equity and really understanding how the Quan is made and being dealing with only responsive professionals and really having transparency where you can go to money management today. You could see the properties that are being owned. You can receive the information. You can look at the blogs. Our podcast, our video will be right there on the homepage. So it's nice in today's day and age where honestly on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, you don't know the bots. You don't know who's responding for who. To just be able to communicate with transparency, it's nice.
Yeah. And, you know, I think the next question becomes what you were leading into is, how do I get information about the deals that you're looking at and putting into the fund? What is the minimum investment? What is the holding pattern for each one of these? Because sure, some of them will vary, you know, compared to others. And I think that being able to at least maybe have people's emails so that they can get updated.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
ultimately, if people are interested, holding maybe like a webinar type of thing once a month, where just for a short period of time, we go over 3 or 4 properties that are on in the
Absolutely.
pipeline, right? And prospectus being able to set for the ones that are really interested, and have a Q&A for anyone that's interested.
100%. You know, we're right now in escrow on a TLE in Houston, which is the learning experience, early childhood education facility. We're getting almost a 20-year lease, brand new product, 2024. And, you know, it's really about understanding how you can put your capital in an investment. How can you set it and forget it, even though it's very difficult to do? I can tell you that we've had a shopping center in Houston that now we're selling, and we're using that money through an exchange to buy this TLE in addition to other properties. Our management company for that shopping center has been the same for 20 years. And I have needed as an investor to show up in Houston 0 times. But I did show up in Houston because I felt bad, you know, that I'm getting a check and I'm not, you know, hello, hi, what's up? You know, but so I did show up 4 times, you know, but I'm planning on being there a lot more, because with the fund and with the opportunity that we're seeing now with the available commercial real estate that's really meeting our numbers and expectations, with the addition of accredited investors really believing in the system and understanding that private equity is the way to go, and really wanting to receive those residual income benefits that you're just not able to get in a typical, you know, position in the stock market. You just, you know, if you read the case study that I wrote back, you know, when I did in 2020, that same account where I took back then in 2020, and it took me 6 months to find the property with my GP investor, I have in that account now 152,000 in my IRA account. that, I didn't have any other stock ever provide the type of yield that real estate can provide. So it makes it for you. If you can take your retirement account and you can actually self-direct it and receive the benefits. I did a podcast with Corinne Hall from UDirect. They're the largest custodian in the US. Go on our site. Anybody listening, check it out. Um, Dar, it's really been a pleasure diving in with you on really what makes us tick. I feel like we had a really cool convo. I'm looking forward to having another one with you in a couple of weeks. I'm I might be in Houston at the time for the closing, and we'll just do it on location. And wherever you are, we'll do that. And we'll probably do it on a Monday or a Thursday or a Friday so we can stay current with our audience. And we'll have a few guest operators like the simulator, guys that would love to be on the show that are scaling up now. And I spoke to a friend of mine from KW, Keller Williams, who's been in the business for over 20 years. And as far as sharing the knowledge, we have a course, CIDC, which is Commercial Investment Debt Consultant. So for any accountants, attorneys, wealth managers, or any professional type that you would like to really have 15 minutes of a video where you can have the knowledge to understand how to potentially purchase commercial, industrial, or retail, it's available for you on Udemy. Check it out. Reach out to us. I'm really excited that, we're providing this information to the audience. And I'm looking forward to getting some emails, getting some, shout outs, and, having continued conversation with the investors out there and making everybody mad money, looking for deals, always looking for deals.
Yeah, Ben, thank you for having me on. I look forward to the next several talks. I'm going to definitely bring the energy for you when it comes to action plans, not just words, action plans on what to do if any of the listeners were in my position, were in your position, trying to grow their mindset, meaning that they're pushing through some of the traumas and issues and daily day grind with family and work, and how to be able to flip the switch through certain technical skills that I will talk about as we sprinkle that into our investment talk, so that it not only becomes a real estate talk, but also a wellness talk.
I love it. Wellness is something that is the underlying, like you said at the beginning, it all starts with wellness. It all starts with wellness, with mental clarity, with peacefulness. So hopefully listening to us, watching us, hopefully we've provided you that. And like Dar said, please reach out. Thank you, everybody.
Bye now.
Thank you, Dar. We'll talk to you
Thank
soon,
you.
sir. Take care, bro. Have a nice day, man.